ever have to deal with the loss of a loved one, especially children. But when it happens, it's easier to work through the grief with support, and that's where Dustin's Place comes in. Viki is here to explain. Good morning. I'm so glad you're here.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
So tell me a little bit about Dustin's Place and how it got started.
Dustin's Place was founded in November of 2019 in honor of my late husband, Dustin, who died on August 2nd of 2016 in a single car accident. So through my personal experience with grief, I came to realize the lack of support there is for grief and founded Dustin's Place in his honor.
So we were talking a little bit prior to the camera going on, that there were things for adults, but not necessarily for kids.
Yes.
So tell me about that. How old were your children when your husband passed?
Kathan was 6, Liliana was 5, and Dean was 11 months old.
Oh my gosh.
So we were 34 years old when he died in his car accident, and there were lots of places for me to go. I could go to individual, I could go to group, I could go to faith-based, I could go to community-based. There were just so many resources for me. And at the time I was a teacher and Dustin was a social worker. So I knew we needed to get help for my kids.
Yes.
But I couldn't find any. It was a 10-month wait for my daughter to get into therapy.
Oh.
As a grieving mom, I'm like, that's unacceptable. I can't wait 10 months.
Yes.
And even when I got my son into therapy, he is very much an introvert, and he didn't want to talk.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't want to talk one-on-one with someone who didn't know his dad, who didn't know me. He was never defiant, but he was not interested in that setting.
So how has your experience then evolved into this amazing organization of Dustin's Place?
So our personal experience, we found a children's grief center in Goshen that supported our family and our grief, and it made me realize I had no idea what grief was. I thought I did, and I thought I was such a great support to others, but after night 1, we walked outside, and Kathan says to me, "Mom, there's another boy there, and his dad died." And that sentence made me realize I was so busy fixing my kid.
Yeah.
He just needed to know he wasn't alone.
Right.
And that is our mission at Dustin's Place, is that no one grieves alone. So through that mission, we provide peer-to-peer grief support groups to children, to adults. We do school-based groups. So we're in 19 schools throughout South Bend every single week doing peer-to-peer grief support. And we have our family nights where we offer the entire family grief support at no cost with no wait list.
I love that.
Thank
and you guys are breaking ground on a new building. Tell me about that, and tell me what that means for the organization.
It's huge. It is so big. We have been so graciously gifted a space for the last 5 years that we could borrow for our group nights, but that was all we could borrow it for.
Right.
So having a home that is going to be our own, we'll be able to offer individual counseling. We'll be able to offer daytime widow groups so that those who don't want to go out in the evening, they can go out in the evening. We will have specialty rooms, like a volcano room for physical expression. We'll have an art expression room because art is so important in grief. And so having these extra spaces, as well as our own home, we anticipate 2026 expanding our reach by 100% in comparison to last year.
Wow. What would Dustin say about all of this?
He would be so moved. He gave his entire life for children. He worked at a residential facility for kids, and his heart broke for the marginalized kiddos, those who were overseen or didn't have the resources they need. And so doing this in his honor, giving it to, or supporting children who can't afford grief support, who can't come, so we go into their neighborhoods, families who are impacted on the worst days of their life, and having someone there who understands is the best way we can honor his memory.
You shared with me a little bit about how your son felt walking out of the grief session, the counseling session. Share with me a success story from Dustin's Place.
Oh, wow. I think for me, it's the teenagers.
Okay.
Because for me, teenagers have a choice,
Yes,
right? Like
yes.
I can make a 6-year-old go to group.
Yes.
You're not making a 16-year-old do anything multiple times. And so for our teens to make the choice to come to group and to keep coming back shows the impact that Dustin's Place has on a grief journey. And then we also have those little kiddos. We had a girl so anxious to come. She ate her dinner under the dining room table on her night 1. By the end of the night, she ran downstairs, gave us a hug, and said, "I'll see you in 2 weeks." And so it's just being that space that's safe for everyone. so that they aren't alone.
Real quick, how can the community help with your expansion?
Absolutely. We are at 75% funded right now.
Okay.
So we've got a small chunk that we need to continue to raise. They can donate by mailing in a check or getting online. And then we also just opened up our room naming opportunities. So for those who want to name a space after someone they love or after a business, we opened those up a couple weeks ago, and we're still looking for people to sponsor rooms within that space. And of course, come next Monday, watch us knock a hole in the wall for the very first time and see what this new space is going to bring.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for being here, Viki, and thank you for what you do for our community.
Thank you. And thank you so much for letting me come.
Absolutely. If you would like to learn more about Dustin's Place or donate to their cause, just head over to dustinsplace.org and don't forget to follow them on Facebook.